I hereby call to order this 13th meeting of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission for the year 2025. Welcome everyone joining us here in the room as well as those joining us on the live stream. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. At today's meeting, which is open to the public, the Commission will act on various matters. Since adequate forms have been made available for public participation in cases before the Commission, there is no opportunity for the public to address the Commission at this public meeting. The public meeting motions, statements, and video will be available on the Commission's website later today. We do have a quorum present with all 5 commissioners, with Vice Chair Barrow joining us via remote. Vice Chair Barrow, are you with us?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can, thank you. The first matter on this morning's agenda is the approval of the minutes of the meeting of June 5th, 2025. I would like to recognize Commissioner Zerfas as the editor of the minutes. Commissioner Zerfas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have reviewed the minutes of the June 5, 2025 public meeting and move that they be approved as submitted. Thank you.
You've heard the motion by Commissioner Zerfas. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Yanora. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to today's agenda, let us begin on page 1 with matters presented by Director Yoder in the Bureau of Audits. I move that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion both items on page 1, beginning with the audit report of First Energy Pennsylvania Electric Company Med-Ed Rate District's Energy Efficiency and Conservation Charge, and continuing the omnibus to include all 3 items on page 2, and the first item on page 3, ending the omnibus with the audit report of National Fuel Gas Distribution Corporation's low-income residential assistance, and release the reports to the public. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Continuing on page 3 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt the Focused Management and Operations Audit Report of Pike County Light and Power Company and Leatherstock and Gas Company, LLC, and release the report to the public. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion? I do have a statement in this matter. I ask my statement be entered into the record as though I read it in its entirety. Before the Commission is the Focused Management and Operations Audit of Pike County Light and Power Company and Leatherstock and Gas Company. In response to the management audit, the companies have submitted an implementation plan indicating acceptance of 23 Bureau of Audits recommendations, partial acceptance of 1 recommendation, and rejection of 1 recommendation. I commend our Bureau of Audits for its continued efforts to ensure jurisdictional utilities are managed and operated in an economic and efficient manner. The Commission's auditing arm is one of the most important mechanisms used under our economic regulatory jurisdiction. Second, I offer my appreciation for the cooperation of Pike and Leatherstocking, most notably the company's management and employees, whom worked with our Bureau of Audits to formulate the instant implementation plan. The companies have committed to effectuate the vast majority of recommendations offered by our Bureau of Audit staff. These implementation measures include, but are not limited to, the following: instilling budget management controls to monitor and report significant variances, expanding staffing at Pike to ensure optimal electric operations, developing a comprehensive damage prevention manual at Pike, increasing public awareness efforts for all involved parties about responsibilities under PA1 call, as well as enhancing physical security and business continuity planning. Nonetheless, I take this opportunity to highlight my concern with the company's rejection of the recommendation to regularly compare costs for internally shared services and costs of outside services to determine cost effectiveness. I acknowledge that shared resources under the company's affiliated interest agreements, or AIAs, most often provide efficiencies that manifest in lower costs. However, such results are not always absolute. AIAs should be routinely benchmarked against outside service providers to ensure that the cost and expense of services provided under such AIAs is creating value for ratepayers in the form of operational efficiencies and cost savings. In our present environment, where many customers are increasingly challenged to afford utility service, I find it unwise to not routinely benchmark utility AIA costs to ensure they foster the affordability and efficiency expected by customers and required by statute. Look no further than Section 2102C of the Public Utility Code, which states, quote, "The Commission shall disallow recovery of amounts paid pursuant to AIAs in excess of reasonable price for furnishing the services provided," end quote. As our Bureau of Audit state, without periodic assessment of market rates for shared services, the regulated utilities cannot ensure that they are not overpaying for services received, nor undercharging for services rendered. Therefore, I asked all utilities to benchmark their expenses incurred and revenues received pursuant to their relevant AIAs, and encourage Pike and Leatherstocking to reconsider their rejection of this important recommendation. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. And the ayes have it, and matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 4 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt an omnibus motion, both items on page 4, beginning with the audit report of PPL Electric Utilities Corporation's Generation Supply Charge 1, and ending the omnibus at the bottom of page 4 with the audit report of PPL Electric Utility Corporation's Generation Supply Charge 2, and release the reports to the public. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 5, in matters presented by Director Hafner in the Office of Special Assistance, I move that the Commission adopt a proposed opinion and order regarding the abolition of 2 crossings of an abandoned line of the Bessemer and Lake Erie Railroad. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion?
Chairman, I have a statement.
Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you. Please enter my statement, my conflict statement, into the record as though read in its entirety. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 6 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt an omnibus motion, both items on page 6, beginning with the proposed opinion and order regarding the formal complaint of SCH USA versus Aqua Pennsylvania Wastewater Incorporated, and ending the omnibus at the bottom of page 6 with the proposed opinion and order regarding the formal complaint of Frank Servac Jr. versus Duquesne Light Company. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 7, I move that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order regarding the formal complaint of Michael Solera versus First Energy Pennsylvania Electric Company. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? I do have a statement in this case. I ask that my statement be entered into the record as though I read it in its entirety. Before the Commission are the exceptions of Michael Solera to the initial decision of Administrative Law Judge Emily DeVoe. The initial decision denied the formal complaint of Mr. Solera that Mr. Solera filed against First Energy. Mr. Solera's complaint alleges that First Energy's lines are situated beyond its right-of-way, and the company enters his property to cut trees. For relief, Mr. Solera requests that First Energy move its service lines and utility pole within the correct right-of-way. First Energy filed a motion for judgment on the pleadings, arguing that the claims made by Mr. Solera fall outside the Commission's jurisdiction because they question the scope and validity of the right-of-way limit. In her initial decision, ALJ DeVoe gave careful consideration to Mr. Solera's claims. She held a pre-hearing conference where she allowed the parties the opportunity to provide oral argument on their respective positions. ALJ DeVoe reviewed the record of a previous complaint proceeding initiated by Mr. Solera in 2023 and explained how the factual allegations made in Mr. Solera's current complaint differ. The initial decision understands the severity of granting judgment on the pleadings and thoroughly explains why First Energy is entitled to judgment as a matter of law. I commend the work of ALJ DeVoe in this matter. I note the arguments raised by Mr. Solero's exceptions that claims made in his complaint can be interpreted to include a challenge to the reasonableness of First Energy's vegetation management practices. His allegations, however, are based upon the Commission's first making determination on matters beyond the Commission's jurisdiction. I would also like to take this opportunity to highlight the importance of vegetation management as it relates to electric reliability. Fallen trees and limbs are the #1 cause of power outages in Pennsylvania. Electric distribution companies are challenged with the management of off right-of-way trees, which can fall on distribution lines during storm activity and are a leading cause of service interruptions. The electric grid, and as a result, consumers, benefit when EDCs are permitted to enter private property to trim and cut trees that could adversely impact their wires, poles, and other equipment. Reasonable vegetation management of off right-of-way trees is essential for minimizing interruptions of electric service. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Continuing on page 7 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion the remaining item on page 7, beginning with the proposed opinion and order regarding the formal complaint of Raymond Thomas Oshel versus PPL Electric Utilities, and continuing the omnibus to include both items on page 8, and ending the omnibus with a single item on page 9, the application of All Level Transportation Incorporated. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 10 of today's agenda, matters presented by Director Diskin and the Bureau of Technical Utility Services. I move that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion both items on page 10, beginning with the proposed tariff supplement of the York Water Company, and continue the omnibus to include both items on page 11, all 3 items on page 12, both items on page 13, both items on page 14, both items on page 15, and ending the omnibus with a single item on page 16, the proposed tentative order canceling the certificates of public convenience of motor carriers for failure to maintain evidence of insurance. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 17, and matters presented by Chief L.J. Rainey in the Office of Administrative Law Judge. I move that the Commission adopt the recommended decision of Deputy Chief A.L.J. Pell and the gas cost rate filing of Philadelphia Gas Works. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0. That concludes our regular agenda. Now turning to the carry-in. On page 1 of the carry-in agenda and additional items presented by Director Hafner in the Office of Special Assistance, I move that the Commission record the action taken by notational vote on July 2nd, 2025 via issuance of an opinion and order in the matter involving the application of Pennsylvania American Water Company. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 2 of the carry-in agenda and additional items presented by Director Hafner in the Office of Special Assistance, I move that the Commission record the action taken by notational vote on July 7th, 2025 via issuance of an opinion and order in the matter involving the formal complaint of Dontissa Wilmer versus Pico Energy Company Electric. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 3 of the carrying agenda and the final item on today's agenda, I ask Vice Chair Barrow to preside so I can offer my motion. Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you, Chairman. You are recognized for purposes of your motion.
Thank you. I ask that my motion be entered into the record as if I read it in its entirety. The Consumer Advisory Council, or CAC, of the Public Utility Commission was created in 1977 and provided an advisory group consisting of members not employed by the Commission. The CAC advises the Commission about matters related to the protection of consumer interests that are under the jurisdiction of the Commission. Members of the CAC serve a 2-year term and can be reappointed without limit and serve without compensation. It is now time for the Commission to appoint or reappoint members to the CAC for the 2025-2027 term. The Commission appoints members of the CAC as appropriate to comply with the purposes of the CAC. Additional members are appointed by the Governor, the Lieutenant Governor, the majority and minority chairpersons of the Senate Consumer Protection and Professional Licensure Committee, and the majority and minority chairpersons of the House Consumer Protection, Technology, and Utilities Committee. As an initial matter, I express my gratitude and appreciation for 3 members who are not continuing in their roles on the CAC. Tim Hennessy has served on the CAC for 16 years, including 8 as its chairman, and has decided not to seek another term. Justin Patton, who was appointed by Senator Patrick Stefano, and Eileen Mazza, who is a commission-appointed member of the CAC, have also decided not to seek another term on the CAC. I thank all of them for their time and contributions while serving on the CAC. In terms of appointments to the CAC, today this motion confirms the appointment of Patrick Cicero by Governor Josh Shapiro, Chad Quinn by Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis, and Charles Lanier by Chairman Danilo Burgos. Mr. Cicero is the former consumer advocate of Pennsylvania, former CAC member and chair, and currently works at the Pennsylvania Utility Law Project. Mr. Quinn serves as the chief executive officer of the Pittsburgh-based Dollar Energy Fund and is already a CAC member. Mr. Lanier has a number of volunteer and employment experiences with community advisory boards in Philadelphia, including the Philadelphia Housing Authority, where he retired from in 2012. I welcome Mr. Cicero, Mr. Lanier, and Mr. Lanier to the CAC, and thank Mr. Quinn for his continued service. Finally, this motion also confirms the appointment of commission-appointed members Mary Bach, Lenora Best, Elizabeth Marks, Teresa Mingerell, Sonny Popowski, Sylvia Sims, and Autumn Thomas. Ms. Bach is a former high school teacher, volunteer chair of AARP's Pennsylvania Consumer Issues Task Force, and is a strong voice for consumers across Pennsylvania. Ms. Best has extensive background in consumer protection policy and is a retired manager with the Commission's Bureau of Consumer Services. Ms. Mingerell is also a prior employee of the Commission's Bureau of Consumer Services and has also worked with the Pennsylvania Department of Public Welfare. Ms. Sims is the founder of Parent Power, a training program to get families more involved in their children's education, has been involved with community improvement efforts for more than a decade. Ms. Marks is the executive director of the Pennsylvania Utility Law Project and currently chairs the Pennsylvania Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program Advisory Committee. And Mr. Popowski was the consumer advocate of Pennsylvania from 1990 to 2012. Each of them is continuing their service to the CAC for another term. I welcome Autumn Thomas. Ms. Thomas is retired after a long career with the Pennsylvania Food Merchants Association and is a member of AARP's Pennsylvania Consumer Issues Task Force. This will be Ms. Thompson's first term on the CAC. I thank all appointees in advance for their involvement on the CAC and their willingness to devote their time and efforts to give consumers an active voice at the Commission. Therefore, I move, 1, that pursuant to 52 PA Code, Section 91.4 C 1 through 3, the Public Utility Commission ratifies and accepts the following appointments to the Consumer Advisory Council for the term beginning on July 1, 2025, and continuing through June 30th, 2027. A, Governor Josh Shapiro, Patrick Cicero. Appointment of Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis, Chad J. Quinn. Appointment of Chairman Danilo Burgos, Charles L. Lanier. And commission appointees, Mary Bach, Lenora M. Best, Elizabeth Marks, Teresa D. Mingarello, Sonny Popowski, Sylvia Sims, and Autumn Thomas. 2, that the Law Bureau prepare an order consistent with this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Aye as well. Any objections? Hearing none, the recommendation is, the motion is adopted by a vote of 5-0. Chairman, the gavel's yours.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. That concludes all agenda items to be considered today. But before we adjourn, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Zerfus to talk about our internship program. Commissioner Zerfus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this year, we had our second cohort of summer interns. Last year was our first year. We had 7 interns last summer for the inauguration of the program. This year we have 11. But I will say that we had well over 50 applications for the summer internship program, which I think shows the growing interest in the program, what we're doing here at the commission, and it shows the commission's continued commitment in line with our strategic plan to grow that pipeline, pun intended, of talent here in the Commonwealth. So I wanted to introduce this year's cohort of interns before everyone kind of disbands, to go back to school. Everyone's on different timelines. So in no particular order, I'm going to introduce the interns. I'm going to ask you all to stand. And when we are finished with public meeting, I'm asking the interns to come to the dais here so we can get a group photo together. So without further ado, we have Paige Oystrich, a legal intern with the Law Bureau. Paige attends Widener Law School. Catherine McCafferty is a legal intern with the Law Bureau. She goes to Penn State Dickinson Law. Anise Kondakchu, a legal intern with the Office of Administrative Law Judge. She attends Penn State Dickinson Law. Chase Runyon is a legal intern with the Office of Administrative Law Judge out of the Pittsburgh office and attends Widener Law School. Ryan Steele, a legal intern with the Office of Administrative Law Judge out of the Philadelphia office, and Ryan attends Temple Law School. Connor Carney is an intern with the Bureau of Consumer Services. He majors in political science at Liberty University. Benjamin Hill is an intern with the chairman's office and attends Dickinson Law School. Cameron Hickson is an intern with the vice chair's office. Cameron is a major in economics at Penn State University. Brawley Wise is an intern in my office, and he is a history and philosophy major at the University of South Florida. Hadia Amini is a scientific and technical intern with the Office of Administrative Services and majors in computer and information science at Harrisburg University. And Raul Gautam is a scientific and technical intern with the Office of Administrative Services and is going for a master's in computer science at Harrisburg University. So those are our interns. I want to thank you for your work this summer. I hope you got something out of it. If not, let me know and we'll fix that. But I think it was a really good summer, and thank you very much. And I just want to give them a round of applause if that's okay. Good luck back at school.
I would like to thank Commissioner Zerfus for heading up our intern programs. And to our interns, if you have any complaints about the programs, let me know and I'll take it up with Commissioner Zerfus. But before we adjourn, I also want to observe Extreme Heat Safety Month. I want to take the moment to reflect on the growing challenges from extreme summer weather, not just for individuals and families, but also for the critical utility systems that power our lives. The Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission is keenly aware of the risk posed by prolonged high temperatures, especially as we enter a season forecast to be hotter, wetter, and more storm-prone than usual. We've already seen that reality this year, including an April storm that disrupted electric service to more than 500,000 Pennsylvanians. That's why the PUC continues to work closely with utilities and the regional grid operator, PJM, to ensure they are ready to meet summer energy demands and respond quickly and safely to storm-related disruptions. Our 2025 summer readiness reports show that utilities have taken important steps, including equipment upgrades, vegetation management, and emergency response planning. At the same time, PJM has modeled an extreme scenario this summer where electricity demand could exceed reserve capacity. In those rare situations, utilities may activate demand response programs that help stabilize the grid by encouraging short-term reductions in usage. This highlights how every action counts. Through small changes, we can help reduce stress on the system, protect reliability, and manage household bills, especially during peak demand hours in the afternoon and evening. That's the focus of our Ways to Stay Cool and Save in PA campaigns, offering simple but effective tips, including use fans to boost comfort while using less air conditioning, block direct sunlight through curtains or blinds, delay heat generating chores until cooler hours, raise your thermostat just a few degrees to reduce usage, and check in on neighbors, especially older adults or anyone with health conditions. We also encourage residents to prepare now for potential storm-related outages. Another part of staying safe this summer. Some important reminders include planning ahead, have flashlights, fresh batteries, bottled water, non-perishable food, and needed medications ready. Charge up. Fully charge your cell phone and backup batteries in advance of storms. Stay informed. Monitor local forecasts and check utility updates online or through social media. Report issues. Contact your utility to report outages report utility issues. Contact your utility to report outages, not 911. And always assume down wires are live. Stay far away from those lines and call 911 to report emergency situations. Use generators safely. Never operate a generator indoors or in a garage, only outdoors, well away from doors and windows. For more information, visit the Consumer Help Center on the PUC website, where you'll find energy-saving tips, shopping tools, and links to customer assistance programs. By working together across our communities, utilities, and the Commission, we can all help ensure that Pennsylvanians remain safe, cool, and resilient in the face of increasingly adverse summer weather. Now, if there's no other business to come before the Commission, is there any objection to adjourning this meeting? Hearing none, we are adjourned.